Hey guys, Carlos Colon here with Georgia Premier Homes, and today we're going to be talking about when is the right time to buy or sell a home in real estate. So, this is going to entail a lot of information that you need to understand because there are a lot of misconceptions about real estate in general and when you should buy, when you should sell, and what that entails. So there's no perfect analysis for this, and a lot of what I'm going to say today in this video is probably going to get scrutinized, and I'm okay with it because I'm not perfect. So here's what I'm going to start with. If I've got a house, I'm going to look at this two different ways, which is going to be if I'm selling or buying. In most cases, just so you know, the time that I should come to the market, you would think would be the exact same. And in most cases, they are. So for example, if I'm talking about, yes, you should sell your home in the spring for a seller because you'll get the most, money out of it, and that's when people are looking, then you would expect me to say the same about buyers, because that's when these people are going to the market. But that's not always the case. And it just depends on your situation, what kind of property you're looking for. And that's what we're going to start with. Let's tackle the big one first. And what I mean by the big one is going to be this misconception about spring. Okay. So the only thing that relates to spring when it comes to the real estate market and people putting their homes on the market, it's going to be family properties. Okay. When I say family properties, we're talking about children living in the home. The reason why this is important is because this whole spring season and idea and misconception that that's when everyone sells their home comes from the basis of the school season just ended or is about to end, and we know that we want to make a change. So we're going to go ahead and do it at this time simultaneously. School ends, we move into our new home, we get to enjoy the summer, and then we start the new year. Whether it be a new school district or the same one, it doesn't matter. So when it comes to spring, the only types of properties that are really directly affected by that and really should be doing that are large family homes. When I say large family homes, I'm talking about you're expecting, 4+ bedroom homes that are hitting the market near the schools. Those are family homes, related to children being in school. If that's your situation, then yes, you know what? You're going to get a lot of families that are going to move during that time of the year, if that's your specific setup. And yes, you should probably list her in the spring, but that's not to say that people don't move all throughout the year. But that may be your best bet, is during that spring break leading all the way into the end of summer. Or really, it's not the end of summer, it's really August when school starts back. So anytime during that gap would be your margin to get a family in before school starts again, okay? But I want you to keep something in mind. This is only related to buyers that have kids that are specifically thinking about school being their timing factor for when they buy. If that's not you, then guess what? Spring has no effect on who your buyer is when they come and when they buy. So we need to talk about that. So I hope that helps in understanding of the biggest myth behind real estate, which is, oh, the market just always, everyone sells in spring. No, that's not the case. You just have a lot more families that come onto the market during the spring. That's all that happens. So let's jump into some other types of properties. And to summarize what I just said, if you have a family style property that has to do with school districts and kids being in school, so to say, and in those areas, then yeah, you should probably come on the spring as a seller, and you should probably buy in the spring or summer as a buyer as well. Okay. Next, if we're talking about a condo or a townhome, really there's no limitations for what time of the year we should be buying or selling. So the reason why this is important is a condo or a townhome is not really meant for the most part to be a forever home. It's meant to be, a 5, a 10-year for a lot of people. And in most cases that I've seen, it's really more of a 2 to 5 year home. And then at that point, typically people sell and they'll either move to another one or a larger home, or they'll go to a condo and downsize. There's a lot of different situations there. But in that case, in that type of scenario, people are looking for your type of home year round. That doesn't, you're not affected by the seasons. Now, could you be affected if you live in the north of the United States? Like if you're in the middle of, I don't know, Idaho or something, and you have huge snowstorms. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that may be not the best time to list your home, but in that kind of a scenario. But for the sake of this video content, we're gonna be talking about Georgia. And in Georgia, if you know anything about the weather, our snowstorms are little flurries. So we don't really have that happen here. So in summary, for condos and townhomes year round, as a seller, as a buyer, yeah, jump on at any point. Yes, it will sell without any issues, as long as it's done correctly and you've got an agent that's going to guide you through that process well. Now, this next one, my homeowners may not like, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. Lake homes. This is a little different, and this is where we start to vary the changes. As a seller, if I'm coming onto the market, I want to be onto the market spring, right before spring, before summer hits, because I want to get the people that want to enjoy that lake home in there quickly. But I also want to avoid winter, okay? And the reason why I want to avoid winter is because typically on most lakes, they've receded the water lines in order for you to do work on your retention walls as well as your docks. So with that said, as a buyer, I would love to be buying a house in the winter, in the fall and the winter, because if you've receded those water lines, that means that I can now look at the condition of your retaining walls when it comes to your lakefront property, and also the condition of your foundation here and your piers when it comes to your dock. So I can see what I'm really dealing with. Where if I'm buying your home in the spring or in the summer, I can't see those things unless I just go underwater somehow and check them out. So you really want to get a feeling for that and to really understand what kind of maintenance you're looking at and what kind of deferred maintenance you're looking at. So in summary, if I'm a seller of a lake home, I really want to be selling it at spring or just before spring, leading into summer. That way people can really utilize it. But if I'm a buyer, I really want to be buying it in the fall or in the winter, so I can really do a full analysis and inspection on it. And chances are, if I'm considering buying during that time frame in a particular area, I already know I want to be on that particular lake. I just want to decide whether it's going to be at your house or not, and whether I want to own your home and own your water frontage and how that relates, and whether you've taken good care of it. For the bulk of real estate, we're going to bulk that all down to your average home. What am I talking about here? We're going to talk about your 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, sometimes your 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and your average home. Your average home is best sold under the listing side year round. There are no limitations. There are no hesitations. The only people that really slow down on their purchasing during the years, the only people that really slow down during seasons are really going to be families, and those are going to be because you've got Christmas, you've got Thanksgiving. But the reality is we sell your average homes 3-2s, 4-2s during winter all the time. If you look at our spreadsheets, which I obviously look at all the time, winter is one of our highest producing months of the year. So we've got winters in December and January are two of the most popular times to move, okay? Unless you've got a big family that you're just gonna wait for the year to get close, the school year to get to an end rather, and then at that point do that all at one time. But for most of your average families that only have 1, 2, 3 kids, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath even, it's not that big a deal to go ahead and move right before Christmas or during Christmas and New Year's, because it's the one time you've got a guaranteed 1 or 2 week break too. So you've got to keep that in mind. Also, when it comes to competition, this is another way to look at it. If everyone else is going to be coming to the market in the spring, do I really want to be in comparison to everyone else? Or would I rather have, be one of 5 on the market that you could choose from rather than one of 30? I could be one of 5 in December that you could choose from in this price point, or I could be one of 30 when it comes to the spring in this price point. And that's up to you to decide, because if you haven't done major upgrades and you're going to look just like everybody else, then you may want to diminish your competition by listing it at a very different time than most people in their brains think that it would be a great time. So instead of spring, you may want to come on winter in order to get that family secured. Okay, and there's nothing wrong against asking for 1-2 weeks occupancy. I've seen situations where people ask for several months of occupancy, but I wouldn't recommend occupancy longer than 30 or 60 days for anybody, just because it becomes a very complicated situation once you get past 60 days. Lastly, we're going to talk about a farm style property. Okay, what I call a farm style property is really going to be massive acreage. Okay, it may not always be a farm, but what's the best way to really show a property like that off? The biggest rule of thumb here when you're listing a home like this, as well as buying, is we really just want to avoid winter. Okay, that's the biggest rule of thumb. And the reason why this is so important is because all of your trees are going to be all thinned out. All the leaves are going to be on the ground already. And when you're walking through the property and walking through the land, there's not really a wow factor. And when you're buying acreage, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the privacy. You're looking for the quality of acreage. And you're really looking for that homey feel. You get that feel during spring and summer and fall, not during winter. So if you've got a large property that you really want to show off and sell, we probably don't want to list it during the winter. Let's wait till the spring. Let's prepare everything. Let's hit it then and go all out. Okay. And the last type of property that we're going to talk about is really going to be something like a mountain property. Mountain property meaning whether we be up at Blue Ridge, in relation to Georgia, or anywhere on the north side of Georgia, when you're hitting that South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee line. Anywhere around there, you're going to have your mountain properties here in Georgia. And as far as those properties are concerned, it's really interesting because the same applies for those type of properties. You can buy them and you can sell them during the winter, but the reality is that's one of the few times when a lot of people really don't want to go up mountains and down mountains, is during those snowstorms. So that creates a little bit of a headache to have showings when people are getting stuck in weather that isn't happening in the rest of the state. So keep that in consideration. So if the home is vacant, it may not matter, but if it's occupied by you and you're thinking about selling it, you may not want to sell it during winter. Historically, those properties tend to come on market right before spring as well, just because winter is ending. And so it's a much better time to show off the beautiful views, the trees, the colors. And when it comes to those, typically with mountain properties, we're selling views. Well, although you might have 4, 5, 10 acres, some of it might be straight downhill or down the mountain for you to be able to see this gorgeous view, and that's okay. But we want to show that off, and we really get to do that any time but winter, basically. So as a buyer, same idea. I don't necessarily recommend that you go shopping for a mountain home in the winter just because of the hazards that are related to the weather that come in the mountains. But if you're used to that, there's nothing wrong with that. But you'll probably get more results and more options when we lead into the spring or in the summertime, as well as the fall. So I hope that helps you guys kind of understand some of the misconceptions about, spring especially, and what to really look for when you're selling your home, or as a buyer, when you're thinking about what's the best time for me to buy this type of home. If you have any questions or you want to talk about your particular situation, give us a call at 770-314-1285, or check out our website at georgiaperimeterhomes.com for some great houses all over Georgia. Thanks. Take care. Bye.